but I will give you them. Remember, this other water though is not included in any of these statistics. Okay, the National Water Group tells us that the coal seam gas industry will, and this is their conservative guesstimate, 300 gigalitres per year is what the National Water Body believes the coal seam gas industry will use if we allow it to get to its full capacity. That is equivalent to Queensland's national household use. So one industry could use the same amount of water as all of Queensland's household use. That's one estimate. Then we've got the federal government's water group. Now this is set up by the government. Their estimate is 5,400 gigalitres per year, which is nearly 18 times bigger. So you can see the difference in, they don't really understand what's going on here. Yes. Okay. So that's almost 3 times the amount. So that is 3 times the amount. So if their estimate is correct, that's 3 times the amount of our national household water use. So if we allow this industry to get to its full potential, each year it will use up to 3 times more than the entire water use, household use in Australia. So we're talking about an absolutely unsustainable industry in such a dry country. Like we cannot even consider it. Okay. Try to picture that in your head. What does that mean? Okay, if we have, remember out of that water they have to remove the salt because there's salt water, so they now have to either put it into evaporating basins or reverse osmosis, and they can remove the salts from it. The problem is, even when you remove the salts from the water, you still have the salts. And not only do you have the salts, especially when you use those evaporative dams, of course the water evaporates, some of the chemicals evaporate, which we can then breathe in, but a lot of the chemicals just adhere to the salt particles. So you've now got massive amounts of toxic salt that can't be used for anything. It can't be put in the ocean, can't be used for a food production system. It's simply toxic salt, can't be put in the rivers, can't be back in the ground. They simply don't know what to do with it. And what's happening in Queensland is the EPA actually gave permission for the coal seam gas industry to dump the lot directly into the headwaters of the Murray-Darling Basin because they simply don't know what else to do with it. Okay, let's have a look. If the conservative estimate of 300 gigalitres per year is correct, that relates to 31 million tonnes of salt will be produced, and that's equivalent to roughly 15 Melbourne cricket grounds full to the brim with salt. Now that's the conservative estimate. If we go to the federal government's water group estimate, which is 5,400 gigalitres, that's 558 million tonnes of salt is going to be produced. That's equivalent to 270 Melbourne cricket grounds full of salt. And then I'm talking about toxic salt, not salt we can use for anything. And of course they have no idea what to do with it. The government isn't even making a requirement. They are allowed to start work even without knowing what they're going to do with this waste product. And it's just happening, and at this point it's just getting dumped in rivers, dumped in landscapes, dumped in ponds, it's getting dumped everywhere. Anyway, I don't know if I can talk anymore. That's basically my presentation. I hope it showed you something that maybe you didn't quite understand before, that what appears to be nothing on the surface, because all you see is a couple of pipes sticking out the ground, is absolute catastrophe below the ground and something unrepairable. Thank you.